Well, guys, my name's Steve Magar, and I'm an appraiser here in town. I own a real estate appraisal company, but kind of had the opportunity to work with Randy from time to time and Covenant and support the group in various ways. So Randy had asked me if myself and my friend Scott Gray would come and give a talk to you guys about just some basic life components. So we put together, Scott will be here in just a few minutes. He's running behind, but he should be coming in here shortly. But we put together this presentation, and we were kind of doing some research, thinking, okay, what's a good topic? What can we bring in? And we came across this article, and it's entitled 13 Important Life Lessons from a 19-Year-Old. Let me see, I think I got that on the next slide here. Yeah, here we go. And it's from a kid named Simon Somole, and so it's actually a really good article. If you want to Google it, he's got a lot of good points, and we didn't have enough time to run through everything, so we're kind of condensing it and pulling out some of the key topics and throwing in some of our real life experiences as well to supplement there. But the main goals that we wanted to hit on here were these points. First off, without goals, you're going nowhere. Okay, so think New Year's resolutions, setting goals, what are you up to? We'll dig into that a little deeper. Next point, the only limits are the ones within your own mind. Okay, so that comes up for me, like I can think of various times where I limit myself in things I do. I know in my career, I can relate back to some growth spurts I went through, and there's certain times you just think, oh man, there's no way I can take that on. There's no way I can push harder. There's no way I can hit those numbers, And then come to find out when you work through things and you find workarounds and you stick to your goals and you get past those, you figure, oh, that was nothing. You blow past those limits, and it's the limitations in your head that tend to stop you. And again, we'll dig into that as well. So anyway, here's Scott real quick. Scott, welcome in.
Hey y'all.
Yeah.
First lesson is how to be on time for meetings.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll figure that out in a minute.
So I just started running through the bullet points here a little bit.
Okay.
Bullet point we're touching on, don't worry about the things you have no control over, right? I mean, we've got a limited amount of mental resources, and when you sit there and you waste your time just stressing over things you have no control over, it drains you. And so try to focus on that, and we'll jump in that as well. Big one, know how to treat people right. Nobody wants to be around that person that's constantly negative or picking on people or whatever else, right? So a big point in dealing with people, know how to treat people right. And finally, find something you love.
Yeah.
And so we'll dig into that as well.
Yeah, so that's kind of a tough one. Like I'm thinking about career-wise, right? And first of all, it's like I gotta make cash. So I get it, because there's bills to be paid and all those things, and that's important, certainly, but finding something you love to do makes life a whole lot easier. So
It sure does. Okay, so without goals, first point, without goals, you're going nowhere. So think about what you want to do in your life.
can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
All right, so who in the room has goals? Sets them. 3, 4, 5, 6. And how many are in here? 12. So 50% is pretty big. Steve will go over a national average.
What kind of goals do they have to be? Maybe
What kind of goals are you setting?
me?
Yeah, you raise your hand.
Never dating again. That's not
Never
goal.
dating again. All right, that's probably not realistic, because I'm hoping that
Too much trouble.
I get that part. So, any other goals that you've set?
Be successful in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cool. And then what you want to do from there is like break that down. What's that look like? Right?
Pay your bills on time.
Okay.
Have a positive attitude on any job that you go to. Dress professionally to your job. Have a happy smile.
Awesome. Great start.
Yeah.
Did you talk about the 9 boxes?
I was going to get into that in a couple minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and we're just going there. And so Scott and I actually, we talked to each other in the beginning of this year. Steve, what's your goals? Scott, what's your goals? And we set different goals in areas of life for family for career. You know, where do I want to get with the career? Family, how am I going to spend more time with my kids? I've got 2 daughters, so one of my goals is that I had with Scott is, okay, I'm going to spend more time with Lindsay, and I'm going to find something that Laurel likes to do so that we can do that together, right? So I've got family and friends, alone time, basically the 9 quadrants, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it could be health, it could be
Health.
career, it could be friendships, I mean, it could be a relationship, right? And I get where you're at right now, that's all cool, I get it, right? But I thinking the different boxes is important, and I gotta say, when I was your age, I wasn't setting any goals.
Yeah.
I just know at 49 how important it really is. So we just want to share with y'all what we see now as the older generation than you guys, just to, if there's 1 or 2 things that y'all pick up from this meeting tonight, perfect, right? We're hoping that that's the case, so.
Exactly. So, yeah, so I guess actually we'll talk about the study, I guess. So we were reading and came across a Harvard study that they did, Harvard School of Business, and Harvard surveyed all of theirs, and they asked the kids, how many of you have goals? And of that, only 3% of all the kids had written goals, 13% had any kind of goals, and 84% of them had no goals whatsoever. And then they followed up on that study 10 years later with the same group of kids, and the one thing they found out was that the 13% that had some form of goals were earning twice as much money as the kids who had no goals. And those 3% that actually wrote their goals out, had the written goals in mind, they were earning over 10 times the amount of the other people. So I think that good support for, you know, it's not to say that you're going to earn more money, but it's whatever you apply your goals to, right? If you have it in writing, it becomes concrete, it's written, you find somebody to share your goals with, to keep things alive and in front of your mind. There's power in that, right?
The other thing on top of that I see is that it helps you make life decisions. So like when you've got your goals stated and you know what they are, you know when something pushes against that goal, you just don't do that, right? You push that aside to go and chase what it is that you've already stated is important. And at our ages, our goals might be a little bit longer out than what yours might be. But if you take on, even look at a 3-month goal, look at a 6-month goal, make it realistic to you and chase it. There's all the statistics in the world that will tell you 21 days creates a habit, right? 30 days creates a habit, those types of things. So if you get into action with those things and find somebody that can hold you accountable, that's why we balance off each other what we're doing. I'll write mine out and I slide them to him, and so when we meet, he's saying, all right, did you do this, this, and this? So it helps me hold my promises, or however you want to say it, because I'm breaking that stuff all the time. Look, we're not perfect people, guys. We're just like you. We all go through our struggles and challenges, but we do see things that might help you in the future. So again, if it's something that makes sense to you, take it on.
Yeah. You want to talk about the 9 quadrants, Scott?
Sure. So it looks like there's enough here. If you guys want to just kind of pass these down, and we'll tell you how we deal with these. And your boxes might look different, right? This isn't to say this is the way it's got to be for you. This is how it shows up for us the majority of the time. And this is what we find, like the 9 most prevalent boxes, at least as you get into your 40s,
Yeah.
that we take on.
And I think that the concept behind this whole thing is the idea of balance. And what we find is when you're out of whack in one area, like I might do really well in my career and I'm going, pushing, but I'm ignoring my wife and my kids, and that gets out of balance, and then life gets crazy, right? Or if I drop, the alone time and I'm not getting enough time to just get away and be stressed, life gets crazy, right? So kind of the trick there is to keep balance in your life.
So those are really, I'm glad you brought that up. So for Steve, his biggest challenge, so he's a business owner, right? He's been doing appraisals for years. He's really, really good, really well known here in town. And for him, it was chasing money, getting a business started. Well, what he brought up earlier about spending time with his kids and his wife, he would see that because we rank these 1 through 10, So if you looked at these boxes and say, okay, where am I at in exercise box? You know, 1 being worst, 10 being best, you know, where am I? And guys, I can fluctuate anywhere from a 10 to a 4. I mean, it just depends, right? Yeah, exactly, dude. I ain't letting you squeeze on me, because if you did right now, I'm definitely on the 4 side. But these boxes are really valuable in figuring out where you are out of balance, where life could be a bit more balanced. And the balance that we're talking about is just mentally, right? I mean, if you're working out, obviously physically is good, but if you're not getting family time, or if you're not getting alone time, and alone time to us is, whether that's time in prayer or time in meditation or time just chilling out. It could just be listening to music, but we all need downtime. There's
Music
no doubt about it.
What you get into.
Huh?
The music defines what mood you get into. If you're listening to heavy metal, most likely you're gonna get into a metal.
There's a lot of truth in what you're saying. Seriously, I got.
Like me, when I'm upset, rather than listening to soul music or oldies, I listen to heavy metal because it calms me down.
Okay.
Which might be odd, but hey.
And you know, we've got Steve and I. We've got a Christian background, man. So we both listen to a lot of Christian music. But I've got an 11-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 19-year-old. They don't always listen to Christian music, right? They get in the car and they're wanting to flip it to something, and I kind of flip a little bit. It's like, oh man, I don't want you hearing that. And they say, why? And it's because that, like, it does have an influence, right? So, but there's a balance. I got to let them grow and learn and do all those things as well. So, if you guys want to take a minute right now and just write down in this box 1 through 10, again, 1 being low, 10 being high, where you think you're at. And then I would like to just call 1 or 2 people out and just ask where you got your box, your boxes scored at, and let's see if we can't help each other out.
Do the boxes all make sense to you guys? Any questions there? Like contribution to society, you know, how you give them back, or do you have a favorite charity you like to work with, or that could even be as much as like, you know, hanging out with your little brother or your cousin, you know, just
Opening a door for somebody. I mean, it doesn't,
Whatever
it
comes
doesn't have
up.
to be crazy big. Making leaves for somebody else.
personal growth. That could be, you know, like this class right here, you know. Just,
Leisure's time away. The way we identify it could be vacation time.
Sounds great. Let's go to Fiji. Oh, you're asking or you telling?
If you're paying, I'm going either way.
I don't got the cash to throw around. For those who don't have them, it is.
All right, so what you got for your low score?
Working relationship,
Okay.
because I just recently got unemployed and I'm not in a relationship. So both of them are good ones.
Okay. All right. So is there, first of all, so then you got to identify, is it important enough to you to do something different? Because we're going to change, guys, for 2 reasons. There's only 2 reasons that will change. The pain is so great that it bothers us so much that we'll do something different, or the payoff or pleasure or the feel good about it is so great that we'll do something about it. Most of us end up in between. The pain isn't that great. It's not so great that I want to change. I'm trying to lose 30 pounds, right? The pain is not so great when I jump in the shower naked and look at myself that I go, oh, I gotta go work out, right? And the pleasure, I'm not there to enjoy what I think my body should look like. But I'm caught in the middle. I'm not like, yeah, it's not weighing so heavy on one side or the other that I'm doing enough about it. So typically, you know, I see that you've got where you got those marked. Cool. Appreciate your honesty on those. Thanks for sharing. So, you know, is there enough pain and or pleasure inside of that? Not pleasure, obviously, but pain to change it? And the answer may be no, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know, and you mentioned relationship, right? So, I mean, you both might be in a position right now. It's like, no, I pass today, and that's okay.
I'd
It's
say
just
maybe
something.
relationships.
It's just something to keep an eye on, right? Because with this life balance, it does keep your head straight. I promise.
yeah, and the cool thing is you guys drive it, right? It's not about what anybody else thinks. It's about what's important to you. And so if that's an area like Scott says it's producing enough pain, or you know, it's a passion for you in one of these areas, and you say, hey, I really want that relationship. I'm going to go after that. I'm going to spend time, you know, going new places, meeting new people, doing new things. You get to call it. You know, it's your say.
Anybody have a 10, a 9 or a 10? What you got?
Contribution to society, exercise, and friends.
Awesome. So talk to me about contribution to society. What do you see yourself doing?
Well, I want to be a firefighter, so.
Okay.
And sometimes I go downtown and feed the homeless.
Awesome, man. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
See, yeah.
I don't know how many months ago we said that we wanted to do something as what we term a God project for us, right? But I mean, y'all call it what you want, but for us, it's serving. Same thing, right?
Yeah.
How do you serve? So what you're doing, that's fantastic. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Anybody else got 9 or a 10?
I would say work and family for 10.
Okay.
I work at Priority Urgent Care, right there on Panama and Stein.
Okay.
All I do is shake the sign for $12 an hour, but when people do come by, I say, how you doing, have a nice day, such and such. People smile at me.
The impact that has on people in today's society is
Golden.
bigger than what you may be given credit
Even
for.
if they do snarl at me, I just smile back.
Yeah, that's big. And you brought it up earlier about being nice. You called it
Yeah,
something, but being good with people.
Yeah.
It not only helps you because it makes you feel good, but it makes somebody else's day. And we got no idea what people are walking around holding. Right? We don't know if they didn't just lose a job or lose a relationship.
Yeah.
We don't have any idea
Family?
what people are going through.
Family, I got too many. You want one?
No,
I got too many cousins. You want one?
I got 4 kids, bro. I'm good.
These things.
Yeah.
You'd be a good role model.
Maybe. Anybody else want to share before we move on? Yeah.
I like to think that my work and my family are both about 10. I think I have the greatest job ever. I'm a pharmacy tech and I really like it. And then my family is above all. So
Awesome.
those
Yeah.
are the most important things.
That's awesome.
Good to see, yeah.
I've got 110, and that's my relationship with my wife. And then we won't discuss the low scores.
I don't have any 10s. I've got it all to work on. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, 10s are tough to get to. But that's great. Thank you for sharing that. It's cool. All right, so what else we got?
Yeah, and so then I would just say on those, I always like to rank mine too, like categories. I can take the 8s, 9s, and 10s and I can say, okay, these are in a good column, right? And I can take my 5s and 6s and say, okay, these are mediocre, so I might want to do something. I might want to look at working into those. But I'll take the 0s, the 1, 2, 3s and say, okay, these are kind of in a danger zone. And I'm in danger of getting out of whack here. So what do I need to do? I need to focus on that. I need to set some goals around those to get going and get yourself spurred. So anyway, just kind of keep that in mind as we go through things, right?
No, that's really
That's
cool.
good.
Thanks for that. And then something to add to that is if there is somebody you can share your goals with, share them.
Yeah.
And find the person that is not going to be giving you an agreement in your conversation. Right? There's no way that I'm BSing this guy. Right? If I push on him or he's pushing on me about my goals, I get he's doing it out of love and out of kindness, and that he cares for what I say is important to me, which is on this sheet. But the world doesn't always work that way. The world typically works in a fashion that says we're going to agree with whatever you say just because it makes the conversation easy and nobody gets, tweaked by the conversation. But I'm telling you, there's total value in finding somebody that will not do that and have real conversations
Speak the
with
truth.
you.
Yep. Okay, next one. The only limits are the ones within your own mind. So these show up in what stops you, right? And our mind can be our greatest asset, and it can be our biggest enemy. And personally, I think too, for me, in growing my business, I do real estate appraisals. So I need to get out there and I need to appraise houses. And that happens when somebody goes to get a loan on a property, they call me, they need a property appraised. However, if you get too tied into doing the bank type work, it can go with the economy, and if the economy takes a turn, you're in trouble because the work dries up and I can't keep my employees busy, right? So one of the things I have to do is find other sources of revenue for the company, and that comes from attorneys and divorce type situations, or accountants need appraisals for various purposes. So that involves getting out there and making phone calls, right? Well, my block, I don't like to make phone calls. I don't like to talk to people I don't know, right? That's what my mind tells me. It's not the truth, but it's what I tell myself. Okay, I'm not good at speaking. I'm not going to make those calls. Well, that doesn't get me anywhere, right? So that's one of the blocks for me, is that, okay, even though I don't feel like picking up that phone, I know it's for the greater good. I know it's one of my goals. I know I told Scott I'm going to bring in more clients, so I pick up the phone and I make it happen. And then surprise, once you find, you know, you make that first call and you decide, oh, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be, you know, that was pretty easy. And, you know, and then next thing you know, you got your first job, and then you get established as being the person that does that type of work, and it starts to flow, right?
Yeah, keep going if you've got more.
No, go ahead.
I don't know if you all can see this, but so Steve talked about what's in our head hurts us or can hurt us if we're thinking negatively. So Steve talked about, and I'm the same way, so it's not just Steve. I can't do it. I can't make new phone calls to people I don't know. Again, can't talk to people, thanks. To peeps I don't know, I can't talk to. And then really what it gets down to is either I'm not smart enough, right? You get caught, I don't know about you guys, but I get it, he gets it. We get caught in, I'm not smart enough and somebody's gonna find out about it.
Yeah.
So all that does, so this lives inside your head, right? So if you can either live inside of that, or you can live inside of this one, which is a blank slate. And when you got a blank slate, like nothing's wrong, right? You can create any future that you want.
Yeah.
But when you've got this junk, crap, crud, however you want to say it, in your head, you're already limiting yourself. And I only know this, and I can only stand here and share this with you because I've done this too many times in my life. And if I can have you guys understand this at your age, to get out of your head and quit listening to whatever is roaming around in there, because it lies to us all the time. And it does it so we stay in a comfort zone. Comfort zone ain't cool.
Yeah.
It might feel good in the moment, but it's not going to get you where you want. It's not going to get you life balance that we've got on these sheets. So anytime you can get to a blank space where I get rid of the junk, you can create whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because you create your future. And whatever future you're going to create comes from the actions that you're doing today. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, good stuff, Scott. So, fear is defined as disempowering beliefs that hold us back in life. You know, just like Scott's touched on. Well, oftentimes it comes from what other people are telling us, and we listen to those people, and we let it get caught up in our heads, and we make meaning out of it. You know, words are just words until we bring the meaning to those words, right? I mean, I can tell Scott he's stupid, and it's just a word, it doesn't mean anything. But if Scott feels like he's stupid, well, now he internalizes it, and he starts to think, oh, I'm stupid, and I'm not good enough. And, you know, you hear that kind of negativity time and time again, and it starts to wear on you, right? So you got to just clear that.
Yeah, that's really good, because it's that, it wears on you, then you believe it, and then all of a sudden you become that.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't go to college, and so I told myself for probably 15 years, I'm an idiot, right? I'm never smart enough to succeed in the world, and I'm not some wealthy cat by any stretch of the imagination, but I've accomplished way more in my career time than I would have if I'd even have gone to college. And I'm not saying don't go to college, because that's the last thing I'm saying. I think I was a generation, one of the last ones that probably could get away with not going to school and succeeding, would be my story about that. But even if you're not today, there's still a way for you to make it. Just don't listen to other people and don't believe the lies that start. We call it crazy tape. It's these stories that we create in our head, and we just keep running them over and over and over again until we believe them. And it's just junk, man. So if you're in that space, which I know that you are, because it just is the way human beings are made, just check yourself on that.
Yeah. And I like this one. Recognize your fear and take action. So when you bump up against it, you know, you've got that goal out there, but what's stopping you? There's some kind of fear there that's in the way. And if you can put a name on it, and you can, for me, I could say, oh, it's public speaking. Well, then what am I going to do about it? You know, then we can find something to get past it and to push through that barrier and push on to our goals, right?
Yeah, and the fear may be, you know, all kinds of things that are big or small, but again, it gets us back to playing small, and we play small because it's safe. So push through it.
In fear, we create the prison we live in. You know, if we let those fears stop us, they box us in, and they keep us playing small in life. You know, so it's about setting those goals, writing those goals, being in action. Just be in action. Right? All right, let's see the next one. Okay, Okay.
So don't worry about the things you have no control over. So I'm late today. And I'm coming back from Lost Hills area. I don't know if you guys know where it is, but it's about 45, 50 miles away from here. And I'm not paying attention to my gas gauge because I got all my Post-it notes from all the conversations I've had with customers today, and I stick them up there so I don't forget my stuff because I think I'm getting old and forgetting stuff, so I got to write notes to everything. So inevitably, I cover up the speedometer and the gas gauge. I run out of gas. So now it's 4 o'clock-ish, and I call this guy that he's already said he doesn't like public speaking, right? This is not his comfort zone, but he's here today because he wants to give something back to you guys. And I tell him, hey, look, I'm out of gas. I'm at least an hour away. I got to go get gas. So I can tell you without doubt that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I'd have been freaking out. I would have been tripping, mad at myself that I didn't recognize it, that I saw my gas tank earlier in the morning and I knew that I was running low, didn't do anything about it. I'd have been upset because I stiffed him. I'd have been upset because I stiffed you guys because we're here to talk about life and how can we all, manage ourselves better, and then I show up late. But I can't, at this point in time, I can't control it. Right? So if I can sit, or if I choose to sit and stew on it, it's not going to do me any good, man. So what I could control in the moment is laugh, call my wife because I know that she'll make me laugh, call him, tell him I screwed up and this is what's going on, he's going to be all right. Call Randy, tell him, cover Steve for a few minutes. So that's what I could control. If I just sit and get in my head, I'm screwed. So just keep that in mind because it's really big that we focus too much on the stuff that we can't control.
And I think it goes back to that, you've got so much space in your mind, right? And we've got so much time in our day that spend your time focusing on what you can control. If you sit there and let your mind spin about all the stuff that could happen or might happen and all that negativity, it wastes space and it wastes energy. And if you stay focused on your goals and what you're out to achieve, you're going to be in a much better place.
And so the last one I'm thinking about with things I can't control. So I'm a huge USC football fan. I'm a big Dodger fan. SC just got slaughtered over the weekend against Notre Dame. Dodger game, Dodgers lose last night. I'm telling you guys, that type of stuff a few years back would have controlled me. I mean, it would have got me so ticked off that the dog wouldn't even want to be around me, right? Well, that doesn't do anybody in my family or me any good. There's nothing that comes out of that. And I get that that's like really menial, like not a big deal stuff. But there's other areas of my life. If it shows up in one area, I promise you it's showing up in other areas of your life. So focus on what you can control.
All right, next one. Know how to treat people right. So these are 2 good books I'd highly recommend to you guys. They're classics out there. And the first one, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. And then The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And throughout your life, you'll probably hear references to those quite a few times. They're great books.
And that first title, How to Win Friends and Influence People, that influence people might sound like manipulation, but it's not. It's just being nice.
Being a good person.
It's serving the homeless, right? I mean, that's just cool stuff. And the influence that you have over people, share. I don't know if you share that with people, what you're up to, but sometimes we don't, or I don't, because to me it sounds like, oh, I'm bragging about it. It's not about that. And so other people think, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I can get involved with something like that. But there is an influence that has over people. And again, it's not about manipulating. It's just about the way that you feel inside, and then you give that to somebody else. It's a gift.
Yeah.
And the 7 Habits, as Steve said, these are 2 books that I would seriously take a look at. The Covey's book is pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got some reading time,
Yeah.
no one likes to be around people who constantly complain. So who in the room likes to complain, do the rumor gig? And it happens, so y'all don't be shy. Anybody?
I definitely do.
You do? You do?
Yeah.
I've done it, you've done it. So out of this, I'll let the 3 of you guys talk about it. How are you feeling when you're complaining?
Like nothing's gonna
Annoying.
change.
Like nothing's gonna change?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Stinking brilliant. Thanks for that.
Annoying.
Annoying? Like to yourself?
To myself and to whoever I'm complaining to.
Yeah. So any other things you want to add to that?
I love complaining with my best friend about the Kardashians or something stupid.
Okay. All right. So is there anything beyond the 3 sisters or 4 sisters or however many of those K sisters there are? Anything else that you think that you complain about?
Not really.
No? All right. Well, that's not so bad then. Because here's like a typical one. Hey, Steve, you know, my wife Kelly, it frustrates me when she decides to go outside and smoke a cigarette, and it kills me, and I wish she'd stop. First of all, what's he gonna do with that?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I say, he'd give you positive advice to quit.
It wasn't me.
Oh,
I'm complaining to him about my wife.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay? So here's the typical move. I go to complain to somebody that can do nothing about it.
Yeah.
All right? If I've really got a complaint, a concern, I need to be in my wife's ear, talking to her about it. Because she's the only one between she and I that can make that difference. But we've got this desire to go share it with this crap with somebody else. And they can't do anything about it. All right? What's he going to do? Steve comes to me, well, this is a bad example because Steve's a business owner, but you know, here, we'll use it like this. He comes to me to complain, and he doesn't, but if he came to me to complain about his employees, what am I going to do about it? Tell him he's right? Well, that doesn't do him any good, one, and his problem hasn't left him, and all he's done is dump it on me. So, the 4 of us, minus the Kardashian girls, if that's going on, just think before you speak, because I'm the one that says, oh, I hate rumors, I hate rumors, I hate rumors, can't stand it, never do it, and dude, I'm always finding something to tell somebody. I mean, I don't even like it, I don't even want to, don't even mean to, but I do it. So, just something to keep in mind, because people, it's just not positive energy that people like.
I like this one. Set aside your stories and get into the other person's perspective. So by stories, we've got those, you know, crazy voices in our head again, right? That tell us, you know, oh, my brother's being an idiot, or, you know, why is he doing that? Why is my brother making this crazy decision? I think that my brother recently went out and bought a house that he couldn't afford, and got himself in kind of a bad situation with, you know, the obligations, the payments, and just his financial situation and everything else. And so there again, my first impulse is to think, okay, why is he doing this? He's being stupid. It's not a good thing, right? But instead, if you can set aside the stories and get into the person's perspective, okay, so I can not, instead of thinking about how stupid and how wrong he is and all that kind of thing, maybe I can try to see his situation and, oh, well, he really needs this house for the size of the family, or this is, you know, good opportunity for them to get in a place where they've always wanted to be, or they've got room. He's up in Tehachapi, and so they've been wanting to raise chickens, and so now they've got a place where they can raise chickens and they can have their kids, you know, actively out there, you know, participating and doing what they need to do. But anyway, if you try to understand the situation, I think it helps you get in their shoes and have compassion, right? Have understanding.
So understand before you judge.
Exactly. Yeah.
And ladies, I can't speak to you all, because I don't live inside of a woman's body, so I don't know how that is, but for a guy, like, we figure somebody's asking us something or telling us something, we gotta give an answer. And that's just not always the case, right? I mean, sometimes it is just listening.
Yeah.
So people really want to know that you care, and they don't know how much you care until they know how much you're listening to them. Give more than you get. I think we've kind of touched on this, but look, man, if you can shuffle out 15 good things and take in 7 from somebody else, that's a huge day. That's a great plus, man. So just look for those opportunities.
I put a little bit of salt and pepper on that little.
Please, yeah.
I have a therapist, and she asks me time to time, do you have anything that bothers you or anything that gets to you? I simply say, no. I don't let things get to me. If it's a negative, I just push it aside and continue on with my day. People ask, how do you do it? I say, I don't worry about it. I just think straightforward. A lot of my friends ask me, but you do have some kind of problems, right? I said, well, of course, I'm a person. We're all gonna have problems, but if you don't dwell on it, you're just gonna push it aside and continue to live, live your life.
Yeah.
If you think, nothing can put me down, nothing can tie me down, and go straight forward, you can accomplish anything.
Yeah, and thanks. So how does that affect your energy level?
When I don't think about a negative thing, I stand taller, rather than if I were to think about something negative. Like, for instance, I'm gonna use an example. Say I'm pestering him. I'm just gonna let someone shake that chair, because I'm not gonna give him a reaction. I'm just let him do this. Rather than me react, I just exposed myself to their attention, and I just made their day.
Yeah, good. That's great. And that's hard to do.
He's gonna be ticked off, and I'm gonna be happy because he gave me his, attention when I was pestering him in the first place.
Yeah, so if he's shaking my chair, it's like, what's going on? Are you okay? I mean, is there something bugging you? I mean, because that's what we got to get to, is being honest with people, right? And it takes trust, and it takes some time to build up to that. But I love what you're up to. That's cool. That's a fantastic start, and like moving through that cycle, that's really cool. But if we went back to getting inside somebody else's perspective, it would be, what's up? You all right?
Yeah.
And that'll trip them out. Like, I was just trying to bug you, but now you act like you care, so I guess I'll stop.
But and I think too now, Scott, that's more important than ever. I mean, when we look at what's going on in the world, we look at the fires that are going on, and we look at the hurricanes and all the damage in Florida and over in Texas, and then you look at the shootings in Vegas and how crazy that stuff is, right? We just need to love on people, and we need to take care of our family and take care of our friends, and we might have a friend that's acting out and not handling it well, and that's when they need somebody to come around and put their arm around them and just have that conversation with them, and just care for those around you, right? Spend the time to care for those you love.
Yeah. Be honest and live with integrity.
Yeah.
Good luck. So I committed to being here at 5:30. Well, sorry, committed to being here at 5:20 for a 5:30 start. So you all might look at it and go, "Oh, he came in and he apologized. No big deal." No, I'm out of integrity. I lied. I didn't keep my promise. We do it all the time, but we give ourselves an excuse. So, well, it's okay because no, it's not okay. Right? I mean, I get that life happens. We're never going to be perfect. I get all that, but when we understand that we're out of integrity all the time, it kind of pushes your brain in a different space to go, whoa, wait a minute. I'm kind of used to being late, and I am notoriously known for being late. All right. And I can tell you, oh, this one was legit, y'all. No, it wasn't, because I could have left earlier, and I could have run it, which meant I would have run out of gas earlier, but I could have got here on time. But we walk through life like, oh, it's okay. No, people judge you from the moment that you start showing up like that. I've got a 19-year-old son that will make more excuses for things that go on in his life, and it drives me stinking batty. And to get him to understand, dude, you get where your integrity is in question, and it's one thing to do it with me, which sucks for me, because I got to deal with that, but you think you can go out into a workforce, or you think you can get into a relationship and pull that stuff and it's going to be okay? It's just not. People, they don't forgive that stuff, so they don't forget it. They will forgive it, but they don't forget it. All right, so the last two, be nice to people and they'll be nice to you. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, doesn't matter. Be nice. Don't fake it, love people. Sometimes you gotta fake it though. I'm just telling you the truth. There's sometimes that I'm tired, I don't wanna be in a good mood, I don't wanna go see a customer, I don't wanna deal with 6 employees that are coming complaining about something. So sometimes you gotta pull the trigger and fake it a little bit. And there's stories, and it may even come out of Cubby, I can't remember, but there's a saying out there that says fake it until you make it. So like, you just kind of fake it, and it's like, okay, well I'm there now, now it's cool. So, it's something to keep in mind.
All right, find something you love. So we all need to find that thing that recharges our batteries, right? What is it for you? Is it spending time, out in nature? Is it going for a hike? Is it spending time with your dogs? That's what it is for me. When I come home from a stressful day, I go outside, hang out with my dogs, throw the ball around a little bit, and it just like releases that stress, that anxiety. So
Find a hobby you can escape into, something that you get lost into. I think you kind of talked about that, right? You talked
Yeah.
about hiking, and actually you just went through that one, sorry. Seek a career that combines your interests and talents to help others. Yeah, I mean, you know, people ask me, so what do you want to do? Well, I want to be a millionaire, truly, because I want to go serve people. And if I don't have to work all day long, I can go serve as many people as I possibly can. That's something I would love to do. Is it happening today? No. So where else can I help others? Where else can I invest my talents that God's given me? And it's just something to really consider, because we get locked into, I gotta go be, and if anybody's doing this, please don't hear this wrong, but I gotta go be a busboy because I gotta go make money. And there's times when we gotta be a busboy because we gotta go make money. And there's a ton of truth in that. But as you continue to grow in your career and opportunities expand to you, start really looking into what is it that I love to do. Because if you really love it, and you guys have heard this before, but if you really love it, showing up to work on Monday through Friday is no big deal. It's pretty stinking easy. Ask other people's opinions of what you are good at and passionate about. So when you get stuck on this one, this is always a great one to go to. I'll ask Steve, we'll go, where, I'm locked in my head, but I trust him. So where do you think I'm lacking, or where do you think I can be extraordinary? I'll ask him those questions, and he'll give me the answers that I really truly already know, but it's just stuff I'm not thinking about. So find somebody that you love and trust, and ask them the question, because people will point you in the right direction.
And they know things you aren't thinking about, you know, like in my relationship with Scott, I can think about, you know, when Scott shined and when I seen him at his best. I seen when Scott was working here with the kids, and I mean, you just shined and did great. So, I mean, there's that passion, you know, that you see in somebody or a friend that just is enjoying themselves and doing well, and, you know, you can bring them back to that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck in a role that you don't care about. We kind of talked about that. And then find your passion. We've kind of talked about that. So, who's doing something they love right now today? What are you doing? Awesome. And why do you love it?
I grew up with foster kids, so I always wanted to work with foster kids, you know, specifically the older group.
Awesome. So you're giving back, serving. That's all cool stuff. What do you get out of it? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I don't get headaches. Just knowing there's a difference, you know, I'm making a difference. I'm doing something that sometimes I had that missing gap, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know things like credit scores or credit cards or any of that. So, you know, being able to help them out with that makes me feel better.
That's cool.
It is.
Thank you for doing what
It's
you're
a
doing.
service.
Who else raised their hand? I saw other hands.
Skateboarding. I haven't been doing it lately, but that's something I love to do.
Do you?
Yeah.
You share it with anybody?
YouTube.
Awesome. That's cool. So you're not just sharing it with a couple peeps. You got that thing all across the world, right? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, one day.
That's awesome. I saw your hand up.
I'm in nursing, so I get to help out a lot of people.
There's
great
another
job.
tough job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for doing what you do. Seriously, that's big.
Drawing.
Ah, all right. Share that.
I've seen people doubt themselves, like saying, for instance, it took me 2 years to learn how to draw a rose perfectly. And I had one guy doubt themselves completely down to the nose. I said, dude, you just doubt yourself like that, you're just gonna dig a deeper and deeper trench. But if you say, I can do it, I can learn it, I can get it, you'll finally learn how to do it. This kid doubted himself way too often, way too much. I said, if you stop saying those ugly words, you'll see an improvement before you know it.
Yeah.
He used to draw stick figures, and he used to be like, this is the only thing I know how to draw. So, no, it's not. You haven't found your place yet.
Cool.
Hey, actually,
Thanks.
you hit on a good point there. I mean, mood is so important, you know. And if we take on a job and we just say, "Oh, I don't want to do this. I have to do it," you know, you'll just drag through it, and it's just tedious. But if you take it on and say, "Okay, what can I learn out of this?" Or, you know, why do I want to do this? Or how am I going to grow out of this? How am I going to share it with others? You know, you turn it into a positive thing, and it makes a world of difference. And that'll get you through school right there. You know, if you're in a bad class, you just turn that attitude around and find a way to make it fun, find a way to enjoy it, and it'll pull you through.
That
So
might be
much
part of
difference.
that fake it part
Yeah.
to some degree. And here's an example. My kids, I don't want to go to church. I hate going to church. We have to go to church.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything. You get to. That's always. I mean, if you ask my kids, they'll say, "Oh, he's the guy that says you get to," because if you look at it with that in mind, it changes your perspective. It's not a chore anymore. I got to take out the trash. No, you get to take out the trash, man. That's a gift. You're helping your family out. That means I don't have to do it. So you're helping me. The dog doesn't get into it and make a mess. You're helping the dog out so the dog doesn't get frickin' swatted and thrown out in the backyard. So, I mean, the mood piece is really big. So if you all can just think on things that maybe aren't lighting you up and look at it like I get to take this on, I promise you, just those words alone will shift your thinking. And a lot about what you're talking about. So, with mood. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys, we've come to the end of this, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were told 30 to 45 minutes, and I think we are really pushing our limits. So we're gonna just close our portion here and just ask you all, any questions? Anything you guys wanna talk about? Anything on the life balance exercise? Anything for your
I think-
mentor in the back? I mean, this is what we're here for you guys, so anybody got any questions, any concerns? Anything that doesn't make sense, anything you think is crap, put it out, it's okay. Everybody ready to go home? Maybe that's part of it, thank you, that's honest, I get it. All right,
I have a question.
yes ma'am.
How would you influence someone to keep a positive mood when they're surrounded by negative external factors?
So that's a brilliant question. Thanks for asking. So the way that I'm gonna quick answer you is if I'm really, really committed to losing weight, right? And I get this isn't as heavy as what you're talking about probably, but if I'm really committed to losing weight, what environment am I putting myself in? What's in my refrigerator? What's in my pantry? What's my family eating? Because if they're all ding dongs and ho-hos and ice cream, and I'm around that, good luck on me losing weight, right? So I have got to shift my environment. If it's
You
about,
don't have control
if you don't have control, you always
in
have got control.
shifting your environment because it's kind of like your obligation or passion, referring to sports or athletics.
Can you give me like a more clear example?
Yeah, so for me, it would be just the program that I'm a part of with my university,
Okay.
and I just don't feel like it's the best fit or environment as far as encouragement and positivity, things of that such, to continue like the fire burning for, you know, what you signed up to do, what your passion originally was.
Yeah.
So it's hard to try to maintain fuel when, like I said, all of the external factors around you are kind of tugging in a different direction.
That's awesome. I mean, I get it. I get it. So in my mind, you jump in here.
Yeah.
In my mind, the first thing I'd be doing is talking to my coach. I just would. Look, coach, I know some people, is it coming from your coach?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna say like, what if that's one of the negative, on the negative end?
Like they're the negative piece?
Yeah,
Okay.
like they're influencing the negative
So
environment.
And I
it-
think
it's-
there's always
it's-
something. There's usually always a positive you can pull out of it. It's so it might sound like that's the negative person, but if you like we talked about trying to get into their situation, maybe you can look and say, okay, I don't like the way they're constantly on me, or I don't like the mood, but this coach is the best at this. Like focus on what you can really pull out of them. Is there something they excel in? Is there something that they're better than any other coach at? Even though push aside the negativity, but focus on what they can offer. I would.
Yeah, so
Other-
that's good. And to add to that, the other thing that I'm thinking is if I'm in that situation, I don't know how old you are, probably early 20s.
22.
Okay, so like more of a challenging conversation at 22 than at 49. I'll admit that right now, okay? Because at 22, I don't know that I was ready to have these conversations. But at 49, I would tell you this, that I would talk to my coach and say, Coach, people react differently to different styles of coaching. For me, this is what I do to perform at my best. Like, I need to be stroked a little bit. I want to keep that passion for you. I want to keep that passion for the program. right now I'm just feeling like I'm losing it a little bit. Is there something that we can work out? But then you gotta be specific as to what it is. And it's not blaming, it's not you screwed up. Yeah, you don't wanna make him or her wrong, okay? If I had an athlete, and I do in my home right now, I've got a couple of them, and I've got one that's extremely burned out on volleyball. And these are the conversations that I'm having with her right now. And at 15, she's going to her coach. She's a freshman at Stockdale, and she's starting on varsity volleyball team. And she's getting fried. I mean, she's done the club sports thing for 3 or 4 years. She's just getting burned out, right? So it's like, Kelsey, you need to go talk to your coach. Because coming to us, mom and dad, this isn't helping the situation. If I had a kid that came to me, a young lady that came to me and said, this is my challenge, can you help me through this? And it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know that I was screwing you up. That's not what I want for you.
I guess to make the scenario a little bit more in depth, to catch it up to maturity level here, like measures have been taken to speak with the adult, to speak with as far as like superintendents of schools, like athletic directors, and then a change will be in place for a certain amount of time, and this probably can happen in any kind of work environment.
Yeah.
The change will be there for a short amount of time, and then it dies out, and it's like you have to go through that process again, but then like it's been a repeating pattern, so then you kind of get fatigued with trying to make that change, or, you know?
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of where.
That's where you're at.
Yeah.
And have you had that conversation? Like, we do this path for a period of time and it's great and it kind of goes away. I mean, have you had that conversation? You
Not
feel like
yet.
you can?
No, I could. I definitely could.
Okay.
I don't have anything to lose, so it's not a mentality that, and I'm not afraid of anything. I actually prefer to speak out and let people know, because I would want that to be done for me too.
Yeah.
Because I see myself as a future business owner or whatever, so.
Awesome.
And you might be the one to champion that cause, because
Yeah.
nobody else is speaking up.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it's pretty like common, but no one likes to speak up about it.
No, because we're all scared to death, right? We're scared of looking bad, somebody thinking that we're wrong, somebody thinking that we're idiots, somebody thinking that we're weak. That's the way we walk around in life. And that's part of what we just want to share tonight, guys. Don't do that. And I'm saying do it respectfully. Do it with the passion of trying to help them. And then trying to, obviously, the end result is to help yourself. So, is that, you buy that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking the question. Anybody else? Got anything going on right now? Before cookies get passed out and we completely lose you.
I'm filled. I said my piece.
Thanks for sharing. The room has been awesome. We really appreciate y'all taking the time.
I actually have a question. I try not to be a selfish person, so I have a hard time finding a alone time for myself.
Okay,
So how would I?
so can I give you an example for me? What I do?
What?
So, and you may not like the reference that I use, and that's okay, because you can find your own point to go to, but for me, it's reading the Bible in the morning by myself, right? It's 10 minutes. We're not talking take 4 hours, right? It's not that, but it's just 10 minutes without worrying about a dog, without worrying about my wife, without worrying about 4 kids, without worrying about work. It's just getting my mind settled. Some people meditate. I'm not good with meditation because I don't like to sit in silence, but for other people, it's really powerful. So there's all kinds of different things that you can do. There's apps that you can find on your phone that are free for meditation. It could be what Steve was talking about. It could be taking a walk in a park. But my suggestion is turn off the music and just let nature do what nature does. Listen to the birds. Watch the weather. Watch the clouds. Just get in tune to your surroundings, and it just kind of throws a peace and a balance inside your body.
And the one thing I would add to that, don't make it as something wrong. Like I hear you speaking as a selfish thing. I don't think it's, I mean, I hear that as a negative context. I think it's all about balance, and you gotta have balance in your life. If you're gonna perform at work, or you're gonna perform with a family, or you're gonna perform serving others, you gotta be balanced in your own life and right with yourself, and have your own relaxation and your head in the right space. So I think it's just contributing to the overall aspect of what you're up to in life, you know. So I wouldn't see it as like a selfish, like you're taking away from something else to give yourself that space.
And you'll know if it's not right, because there's always something that gets triggered inside of our gut that tells us, oh, I've taken this too far, that pendulum's gone too far this way. Because I've been that dude too. I mean, for being a new dad, and it was all about career, and
Yeah.
part of the reason I ended up in a divorce, my first go around. So it was all about me, and I'm gonna go make money, and that's the way I support my family. But the reality was, I lost touch with what was truly important because I was out of balance. Right? It was all about money, 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 money.
Come back to this balance quadrant from time to time, just to self-assess and see where you're at. It's really helpful.
I believe what you said is like the best medicine in the world. If you give yourself time away from life itself and kind of cool off,
Yeah.
come back and like, depending on who you are, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, and kind of push yourself out a little and kind of like, not seem so bad after all.
Yeah.
Like for me, when I get upset, I tell my folks at home, let me have my space, I'll float back into the world, eventually.
Yeah.
I meditate. I
Oh.
love it.
Do you?
If I can't find any music that I like, I'll just meditate. And what I've learned from coping with anger management issues and other like emotions, if you are that kind of person who's clockwork on top, you're gonna depress yourself. You're gonna fall apart like a puzzle. And you gotta learn to cope with not falling apart. So when you meditate or listen to music or, throw a frisbee with the dog or whatever, after a while you feel like the breeze, you feel good, you feel calm.
Yeah, you got energy again too.
I personally love meditating. I do my own little thing. I put my hands together like this, and I breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. After about a good 10 minutes, I feel all the heat from my body just, and I'm good.
Thanks for that, because I'll take that with me tonight, because that's probably something else I need to be looking at.
To others, when they see me do that, they think probably, it's real childish. But until you actually do it, you kind of, depending on who you are and how fast you understand, you think, wow, this actually really works. I should put more effort into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
cool.
good to
Thank
find
you.
what it is.
Thank you.
Well,
All right. Yeah. Do you guys mind if we close you out in prayer? Would that be okay with you guys? All right. Nobody, if it's not your thing, just tune off your ears, man. Because we care enough about you. We just want to pray with you guys real quick. So, Father, just want to say thanks for all the guys and gals in the room, and I want to say thank you for their honesty. And Lord, just please guide them. It's a rough world that Steve has pointed to on several occasions tonight during our talk, that the world's tough right now, man. And these guys are, they see a lot, they hear a lot. So I just ask that you continue to cover them and watch over them, and just help put peace in their hearts, bring wisdom to their minds on things where they can strengthen themselves, and just remind them that they can always turn to you. They can turn to folks at Covenant for support and love and guidance. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks for coming, guys.